Hello and welcome back to Hollowponds Solo Sagas. So we are now doing session 3 of our Lancer RPG, Lancer Solo Lancer. So this is now, because I always record, well at the moment I'm recording about 3 weeks behind, so this is recorded 3 weeks ago to the time you're seeing it now live. I have finished laying out, I have finished putting up, and the GME is now officially there. So for episode 1, 3 weeks ago for you, it would be available. This is it. So it's exactly the same thing we've been using for the last 2 episodes, but I've laid it out, which takes ages because I've never done that before, and it's all up there and I'm very proud of it. Anyway, so it's there. So if you'd like to go and get it, I will put a link somewhere and it should be purchasable, but it has been for you for the last 2 weeks anyway. But yes, I'm quite proud of that. Enough of my nonsense. So thank you very much for rejoining. I'll do this at the beginning. If you are a subscriber, thank you for returning for more Lancer. The last session I really enjoyed. I really enjoyed the skirmish part of this game. And we'll see. I've been playing with the role-playing part, but we'll see how this one goes because that's what we've been. If you're new to this, do consider subscribing. That would be cool. And we have more members of the Adventurers Guild than we've had before, so thank you very much to all of you. It is very much appreciated. Welcome to you all, and hope you all enjoy it. And if you would like to join the Adventurers Guild and see what happens behind the scenes, there's a join button at the side, and Uploading Pete might put a link over there that you can go and join. So where did we leave our Lancer crew? So our main solo is Viking. He is our main character for the solo, and we have paired him up with Marquis Beatty, who he met at Sprocket and Gem to give Viking on the table for the skirmish part, someone else to help with the activations for the actual skirmish part. So we have an interesting combat for the skirmishes, which of course I have to say I discussed quite thoroughly in the GME. So what we had last, because we failed the combat, we just at the last turn we didn't succeed in the combat mission, which was in securing the mining facilities on the moon, catchily called 31644, Moon 31644. The Cranwell Trust, which is a banking corporation, had bought the rights for the moon for mining, and there were some rogue miners on there who were not supposed to be there. And we were sent to try and get them off and secure one of the facilities. We randomly rolled a recon mission, sitrep, from the core book. We failed to hold the recon position for the designated period of time, which meant when the support forces came down to clear the rebels off, the rogue miners got a chance to sabotage that point, and thus Cranwell Trust doesn't have an easy way of just starting up mining processes all over again. They're going to have to spend extra money to get the mining set up properly. So they're probably not that best pleased with us. So that's one thing, we've failed. But one of the bonuses of Lancer, the RPG, is that win, lose or draw, every operation, so sitrep mission period that you go down to and return from, you go up a license level. So we have gone to license level 1. Both Viking and our sort of backup character, the NPC character. So it's not just. So I think for Lancer, the probability of you dying in Lancer is negligible. You will die if either you want your character to die to move on, playing solo, or if you're going to use the Lancer RPG Game Master Emulator and GM Helper, because you're going to run for a group, the probability of one of your players dying is next to nothing. There's cloning facilities there, you can replace things. The only way you will die is if you want it to happen for your story. So probability of dying is negligible. You are just going to go up in a level. So Viking, we went up to license level 1 for Viking, which gives +1 grit. We increased Viking's word on the street ability. We changed Viking's talents, and we changed the Viking's mech quite significantly to tilt Viking more towards tech type stuff. So Viking is more of a hacker and technical person, so has E attack and E defense stuff on the mech and skill sets. So we changed Viking's talents I can't remember what the old ones were, but oh, and the link to the character sheets, I've put those up in a resources section on the website, which Mandy did. She used the tool that it comes with to, so she doesn't want me to say she redesigned it, because she said if she redesigned it, it'd look a lot better. What she's done is she's made it slightly more elegant than it was beforehand. So there's a DLC section on the website, and I've put all the character sheets and the character sheets for the enemies that I used in that skirmish last week are there, and I will do that every time for this. I'll also put some links up. By the time you see this video, it should have been done, so as you can get to the stuff that I flog, I sell. I'll put my Etsy store up so you can get the print stand. If you watch the how-to videos, over my shoulder you'll see like a rotating print stand. I sell those on Etsy. But the character sheets will be up there, so you can see Viking as Viking was for license level 0 and for license level 1. And so we've gone more for infiltration, hacking and spotter. So Viking can put a lock on someone easier, and Viking can go hidden. So Viking will start to use hidden more to allow because Viking seems to, every time I play Viking, which is a more tech character, Viking dies. In all the playtests, Viking dies. In that game last week, Viking dies. So I thought Viking needs to hide more. And we got our license, one license in the Horus Goblin, because it is a tech orientated frame. And from that frame for this, we took the Horus OS systems upgrade, which means that we can do additional things when we do a tech attack. So we can do a puppetry and try and control them, or we can eject their power cores if we do an attack. We also took the Horus Autopod, which means that when another character attacks a target within 15 meters of you and consumes lock-on, so if we get Marquis to consume a lock-on that we've assigned, then our Autopod will automatically do an attack against them. Basically, we'll fire a whole bunch of seeking missiles and will launch at that target. We've also got, we took smoke because it would make it easier to hide as well. You can see this character sheet, and I took a custom paint job and personalization to try and give Viking a little bit more of an advantage to survive. And I decided to say that Viking has a database of other mechs in the personalization, which gives +1 accuracy to what we do, +1 accuracy to the systems upgrade Horus attacks. So due to that database, when we make an attack using the systems upgrade, when we make an attack using system upgrade, we will assign +1 accuracy due to the database, and the database we are going to say is part of that personalization. So part of the personalization that gives us +2 hit points, we're saying we have a good database of other mechs, which means that we can have extra protection against them because we know how to fight them, giving us +2 hit points. We'll story-wise, narrative justify that, and also justify that +1 accuracy via that way. Marquis also got the +1, of course. We put Marquis's extra skill in read the situation. I thought that that would help us with the role playing that hopefully we'll get around to because we've been going 9 minutes, but it is game orientated. Marquis has almost the same talents, still has bonded, but based on the fact that at the table Marquis seemed to play more as a melee skirmish, we took +1, so we took 1 license level in the IPSN Blackbeard frame, and we gave Marquis Skirmisher, which means Marquis can move, automatically starts with soft cover at the beginning of Marquis's turn, and can move before and after a skirmish attack, before or after a skirmish attack. Still has bonded because I thought dropping that wouldn't really work narratively, and has Executioner, which means once per round when Marquis hits with a heavy or super heavy melee weapon. So though Marquis gets the axe, the chain axe with having the Blackbeard, we also took a heavy mount of a heavy melee weapon. So Marquis still has the assault rifle, has a chain axe on the flex mount, and also has a heavy melee, so basically has 2 melee weapons, and so we'll go into melee attack with 2 melee weapons. The chain axe causes shredded, which will reduce their armor and their resistance to nothing. So he will do an attack with the chain axe and then an attack with the heavy weapon will basically be the idea to overcome their armor. What else did Marquis took? So Marquis has taken that. Oh yeah, I was doing it wrong. The whole of the playtest and everything, I've been doing the hyper fuel injection, which is the core system bonus of the GMS frame, as +1, but it's not, it's +1 accuracy. So as soon as they trigger the core system, they get a +1 accuracy, so one of those green dice for every attack, not a +1. So it's better, because potentially it's +6. What else do I need to tell you about? Still has has smoke, took synthetic muscle netting, which means that they can, that Marquis can now ram a target larger as though it's the same size, and if it grapples as one size larger, which means anything of the same size cannot escape. So Marquis can charge in, grapple something, and then Viking can lay waste to it using E-attacks. And Marquis has also got smoke to help Viking hide, because once you're in smoke, you can then hide, and if you're hidden, then Marquis is going to get benefits in the future. So for instance, because of Infiltrator, when you start your turn hidden, the first attack roll of any type that you make sends your target reeling on a hit. Your target must succeed on a hull save or become slowed, impaired, and unable to take reactions until the end of the next turn. So together they might be able to work together. Anyway, that is how they've been rebuilt. I've taken ages with that, I do apologise, but that's basically how they've been rebuilt. You can see the character sheets up on the website, so you can have a look and see what I've done. And then you can see how I went from 0 to 1, and you can make comments down there to say how I may have completely misunderstood how to build a mech, but it is where you go. So we now need to go on to, we've returned back to base. So back to base, we would go and see Vera. Now Vera is the, let's see if I can find Vera. Here we go. Vera Quinn is the well-connected fixer who lines up jobs for independent lancers. Vera, we said, normally works out of the one more before landfall. Now the one more before landfall, is that what I called it? I think I called it the one more before landfall. One more before landfall is a lancer bar on board the Waypoint Theta Independent Space Station, which is in this sector of space. And Vera works out there, who got us the job for what's it? Cranwell Trust, the banking corporation. So what we'll do is we'll leave Cranwell Trust Banking as a corporation, Cranwell Trust, and we probably won't do a job for them next, but we'll start to build up a small pool of corporations that will randomly roll the next couple of jobs for different corporations, and then we'll have that pool of corporations that we will just use for this campaign. So instead of just having randomly rolling all the time, we'll wait until we've got like a small pool of them, and then we'll just work from that pool, so we can build some stories and some political machinations just amongst that group of corporations. I do give this advice. I don't know if I go into that much depth in the book, and so in the GME, to explain that, but the idea is rather than, we then can sort of focus our story in amongst these people. So the Cranwell Trust is not happy with Viking and Marquis at the moment because they've needed to spend extra money. So Viking and Marquis would return back to Waypoint Theta. They would, so though a Viking's mech was destroyed, it overheated and destroyed, and it was crippled rather than sort of turned into slag. It was crippled. So because of that, Viking probably ejected onto the battlefield. Now the core book doesn't really talk about what happens to, or if it does, it's in such a small section I don't remember reading it. I'll go, like, after the session I'll read over it again, but I did before and I couldn't find it. What happens to the Lancer? So I'm assuming you just eject, hard eject, your capsule hard ejects, you float down somewhere, and that's it. You're out of the battle. You've been ejected so far away, you're not under risk of being killed by any of the mechs wandering around. and you might have like, I don't know. So a lot of times from about what I can remember from reading, that is when fighter pilots, anyone who watches this who's possibly been a fighter pilot or knows a fighter pilot, as far as I'm aware, when you eject, the probability of you suffering an injury is incredibly high, because the G-forces you sustain in being forcibly ejected from a fighter pilot craft is huge, and you can suffer fractured bones, you know, traumas, all sorts of stuff. So probability-wise, Viking suffered something, but the medical facilities at this time are so beyond, like, magical, basically, that there isn't going to be much repercussions for Viking. Viking is going to be up and running straight away. So a Viking and Marcus would probably return back to Waypoint Theta, and so this is where we're doing now downtime. Now, downtime within the core book is outlined as a various form of activities you could take place in, which really, your point of downtime within the core book is to get reserves and to maybe slightly work your story and your own personal story, but your main purpose is to get yourself ready to go on the next mission. Your main job in your downtime is you're doing a series of things. Like, there are some things you can do during downtime, such as get organised. You start, run or improve an organisation, business or other venture. But really, it sounds like what organisation you're trying to arrange is a mercenary unit doing mechs. It's not like running a greengrocer's or a florist's on the, you know, on the promenade of Waypoint Theta. It's running a mech organisation, you know, of a mercenary organisation. That's what it scans as, a business. So you're trying to run a business who's getting connected. The scrounge or barter is probably getting additional stuff for your mech. Everything is very much around being a mech pilot, even though we've got this action. So we've got get focused, which is learning, training. This action can be used to learn something like starship piloting, cooking, chess, boxing, history or etiquette. It should usually be specific non-martial skills or something personal to your character. So little bits to sort of fill out your character, but really it's almost like lip service. So what we're going to do when we return back to Waystation Theta is, what we're going to do is, first off, Marquis and Viking are going to go and drown their sorrows at the One More Before Landfall. So we'll do a roll on that, we'll see what comes out, then we'll go speak to Vera and we'll organise a new job. Once we've organised that new job, we will then decide on what we want to do downtime wise to possibly benefit that job. So we can try and work out ways of we might do some skill runs. If we roll anything which is a skill task, we might do that before we go down. I also discussed this in the GME, and we might do things like that. So we'll structure what we're going to do. So let's say we'll first off we'll see who we meet on the concourse on the way to drown our sorrows. We've got 16 Gem and Sprocket. Surprisingly enough, we have rolled Gem and Sprocket again. So both of us are going to go. So we leave. What do we want to go for? We'll go over. We'll go. So Gem and Sprocket. A bickering couple running the junk store. Gem sells cursed relics. Sprocket sells coffee and regrets. So we're going to go have a coffee because we've left the dock. The Gem and Sprockets is near the dock, which is what I said last time, which is where we met, where Marquis and Viking first met after disembarking. So that's where Gem and Sprockets is. We will go visit Gem and Sprockets. Gem and Sprocket will say hello, that we're looking a bit battered about. Will serve us a coffee, we'll say. So let's do a yes, no. Do they offer us the coffee for free? We'll go, it's 50-50, so 10 or above it's free. No, but they don't, but they will offer us, maybe they need some help for something then. So maybe they need help. So what help might they need? Let's roll some verbs. Where's the verbs? Here we go, verb table, D66. Roll 2 verbs, green, so we've got 63, build, and 24, hack. Okay, well, build and hack works nicely because we have Viking who is a hacker. Viking he basically has the hacker skill, when you hit with the tech. So although all of these talents basically gear towards mech combat, which is also very indicative, we also have hack or fix, invent or create. But word on the street, if I didn't increase hack or fix or word. All right, so they want something. So Gem and Sprocket are talking to us as they're serving coffee, and they're going, look, so what? Stuff's really going weird. So let's roll on our prompt. So we've got two types of things that we can use from the GME. We have a verb table, a single verb table, which is just single words, verbs. And then we have a thematic prompt tables, which there's loads of them. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 12 different thematic prompt tables, all in different sorts of settings. So I've got one for waypoint theta or one for space station. So blue is waypoint theta, green is space station. Let's see what one. So 20 for waypoint station radio broadcast. That might be nice. Phantom signal. Oh, they tie together. All right. So what we've got is so space station 18 is phantom signal, and for waypoint theta 20 is station radio broadcast. So maybe there's a phantom signal, and maybe this can tie towards the job. All right, so maybe instead of going to, hold on, I'm gonna write these notes. All right, so instead of going back to Vera, so we're gonna have to go back to Vera anyway to basically say about the job not working. We've gone to Gem and Sprocket on the way there. Oh yeah, okay, so we'll go to Gem and Sprocket, we'll work out what this is. This is the job, so we'll roll a new mission from this, and then we are going to go to Vera to talk to Vera, and we'll do a roll off of the last one more before landfall table to then see what happens there, and then we might use something from the core book to try and get a reserve or a bonus from that to just use some of the core book tables, and then we can see what our actual mission is. But first off, so they want, so that something is big, there's a phantom signal that Sprocket, so Gem sells the thing, Sprocket sells coffee. So Sprocket tells us about a phantom signal that they have been picking up, that Gem picked up, and that signal, so from the radio station, it's not the station, so we've got the radio station broadcast, but it's a phantom signal and it's coming from somewhere. All right, so if we roll the job now, then we can build the rest of this around what the job's going to be. So then we will change to our mission generator. So there's several bits. So where did the job come from? So the job's come from Gem and Sprocket. Now we need to work out what the job is. So we roll for the class of operation. So what is it? So I've got a table, it's either grunt, standard, elite or ultra. It is 14 and 14 is a standard. So we've got a standard job. Now standard job table can either be one combat mission and one skill task, or two combat missions and one skill task, which is another D20. 1 to 12 is 2, 13 to 20 is 1. 7, so we've got 2 combat missions and 1 skill task. All right, so we've got 2 combat missions, 1 skill task. So we'll roll. So we've got a table which gives us a general what the skill task could be, which is a D6. So our skill task, mechanical repairs or jewelry rigging. Tech support is off the clock, you're on your own. Patch up a damaged vehicle. So at failed state, the repair is unstable, requires. So how about instead of that, we're actually going to pick one, which is data decryption or signal interception, because that works with the bit. So we have, so what we've got, enemy reinforcements are tipped off, incorrect or corrupt data first the enemy starts with first activation. Okay, so if we succeed, then we know where the next, okay, all right. So we're going to have a skill check, which is data decryption or signal interception. So no matter what, we are failing forwards. And failing forwards means that if we fail this, we still know where we've got to go to do the job. We still go and do the job, but there's a failure state, which is that the enemy is going to activate first. If we succeed, we go, we do the job, and the enemy doesn't activate first. So that is that, and then we have 2 combat missions that will run back to back. So next we need to roll for the combat mission type. So we will do number one, the first one first. We might do them in different orders depending on how they come out, but so 9 is an extraction mission. This works quite nicely. So we need to extract someone out. What do we got? Rolling environment, that's from the core book. Okay, we'll do the same environment, it's going to be for both of them. And the second one is a 6 escort mission, extract and escort. All right, that works. So the first one, we're going to try and extract someone from somewhere. So let's have a look what the extraction mission stacks out as. So this is where, if you are a GM running Lancer, though the probability of you watching this is low, that this will actually help you, because you then can work out, you can build missions this way. So what have we got? We've got escort. So extraction is this, coincidentally, I don't know whether this is coincidence always when I roll these things, or it's just my brain basically seeing patterns and piecing things together and making these things work, rather than I think, oh, this is fatal fortuitous that these things have rolled this way. But what we've basically rolled is a skill thing. Though we chose the data, because we have got that there was a station radio, so Gem and Sprocket tell us there's this phantom signal that Gem picked up using some of the stuff that he sells. It started to catch this signal, which was being boosted by the radio broadcast from the station. Now what this is telling us about is a thing or a person that needs to be, well, first off, we need to decrypt it, right? But whatever happens one way or the other after decrypting it, we're gonna know this. The downside, if we fail, it takes us so long that they're gonna get the upper hand. If we succeed, we get there early, right? And that works with extraction, which is what we just rolled. We rolled extraction, because extraction, I'll show you the map for extraction. I don't think this is dodgy, and I don't think they'll worry about this because it's pretty basic. So that is the map. We start here, we need to get there, grab an objective, and then get back to here. At the first round, no enemies are on the board. The enemies will come in via these and be deployed every round. By the 10th round, we need to get the objective here. And so that is, we need to go and find someone and bring them out. Extraction, mission 1. Mission 2 we rolled was escort. Escort is, you start here as the player with the objective, you have to get to here to extract. The enemy begins deploying here and can also deploy out of these points here to basically stop you getting through. That works. We find a signal, we need to go to where the signal is being broadcast, where somebody needs some help, someone needs to be extracted, we need to get them, move them out, and then we need to get through some forces to extract out at the end. So what we will say is if at the end of the extraction mission we have failed, we haven't failed. Or we can say we have failed, and then this escort is instead going to be like a gauntlet. So instead of escorting someone else out, it's us trying to get out. So even if we get blown up, if we get blown up at the end of the extraction mission, then we can use the full rest to do the rebuild using repair cap, and then we come into the escort mission, and then we can see how this works. But first off, we need to know, so we can wait, we can do the roll after we've done the data decryption and the signal intercept to then work out what it is. Or we could work out what it is now, but I think we will roll verbs after we've done skill test. But we're not going to do the skill test in this mission yet. First off, we've got this information, we need to now, we will want to do this skill test, and to do that skill test, we're going to want to try and get some software. We need to get some hardware to try and capture the signal. So let's do, is there a time? Well, let's do a clock. Okay, so we'll do this. We're going to do it exactly the same as one of the examples that I use in the GME, which is very similar to this. So instead of this one, which is we need to try and get out, what this is, we need to try and catch this signal. So what we can say is that we're short on time and that we have a clock, and potentially we have 3 activities that we can do to try and give us a accuracy die for the attempt to do the decryption. So we need some software, we need to catch the signal, and possibly we can start asking around if anybody can help us decrypt it. So that gives us potential 3 things we can do. And because we're short on time, because we don't know what's going on and the signal might go, we will roll 1 to 3, so it's technically like a clock, and see how many we've got. So, you know, 3, we can do 3 activities, 1, we can only do 1 thing. 3, we can get 3 activities. So we can ask around, we can get some hardware, we can do some software, and then we can attempt. So for each of these attempts, so what we're doing is we're kind of abstracting rather than getting to the nitty gritty. So for each of those things, we can earn a +1 accuracy dice, and then we attempt to do the decryption to work out what's going on. That is the mission. Now, not to be very ADHD and jumpy aroundy, but we now have to go and speak to Vera in the One More Before Landfall. So we're going to go to the One More Before Landfall, have a drink, get some Dutch courage. Oh, we can have a rumour. No, we've already got a job. We don't need a rumour. We're not going to listen to any rumours. We are going to go to the One More Before Landfall, have a drink, and then go speak to Vera. So first off, let's roll for an event at the one. So we only do 1 of these in the One More Before Landfall. You can do it. So I don't know if it's very clear. So I say only roll once per downtime for the one more for landfall. Is basically so you're not just got loads of stuff going on in there. 63. What's 63? An impromptu memorial is held for a fallen lancer. You find your name listed in error. Start your next mission invisible. That'll do. That'll do. We can start invisible. So both of us will start with the invisible status. You lose it if you get shot or you shoot. You lose the invisible status, but we can start invisible, which means that technically I begin hidden, which means I can take advantage of the when you start your turn hidden, the first attack roll of any type you make sends your target reeling on a hit. Your target must succeed on a hull save. So we could, for the extract part, just try and run up, grab it, and get out and stay invisible and not attack anything. But the only problem is then that field is going to be swamped, and in the end we are going to get hit because one of them will hit us. It's a 50-50 chance to hit someone that's in. So this is, I don't think we used it, but invisible works something. So you roll to hit. If you hit on a 50-50, it doesn't hit them because they are invisible. So you can see them, but they're not quite there. They've got a predator shimmer to them. So you can technically try to hit them, but you're not necessarily going to hit them. So we start invisible because our name on dead list. After this, that's probably Vera. It's probably because Viking got blown up. Vera has misreported Viking's death, and so the information is that Viking died in that last mission. We could take advantage of that and not go and get upset. So I think we will now go and we're going to talk to Vera, and we're going to see if Vera is happy with this or not. Where's me yes no table? It's here. So I think it is. Is it unlikely that Vera is Vera? So Vera being annoyed with us is the most interesting answer. But that means that Vera is going to try and find a job for us to make up for it. So I think it is likely that Vera is annoyed with us. So that's an 8 or higher. Is Vera angry with us when we turn up? 19, yes. Oh, and yes, and the answer is reinforced or escalated. Okay, so yes, and she could give us a job to do now, which means that we would then need to decide whether we're doing that one, the signal, or the other one. But we don't really have. So if this was a Lancer type mission, we would have a tree, and then the decision points would then lead to different outcomes. But based on the fact we're rolling this as we go, and we're sort of we're impromptu, we are improvising. We're improvising. I couldn't think of the word improvising. That's why there'd been a weird cut there. I was thinking, I know the word. What's the word? Improvising. Because we're improvising, we don't really know what the direction would be for that. So she is annoyed with us. So Vera is annoyed, and well, let's roll verbs. Let's roll verbs, and we can see. So she's annoyed, and 45 escape. Maybe it links to this job. 42, smuggle. Okay. All right, she wants us to smuggle something somewhere. Okay, so she's gonna say that she has a job coming up. She needs us to do it. We are going to say it is going to be a grunt level job, and we will roll a grunt level job after we've done this one, and that will be an easy job that she wants us to prove we're not incompetent. So maybe it's a smuggling job, and maybe we'll end up saying that she's setting us up, or because we're being seen as idiots, we're going for the fool. So what we will do is, how long have we been going for? I mean, if we do the skill part now, then we can do next session is we can do the extraction part of the first combat. We can see how long that goes for. If it's quick, then we can go straight into the escort part of the next combat. So okay, so what we're going to do now is we will do the skill test. So we're going to start the operation. So operation, we don't know what the operation name is yet because we need to roll those verbs after we've done the data description. So first off, we're going to try and ask around to see if, maybe, how about we do it that we get these accuracy dice and we can consume them any way we like. So we can potentially earn one and then use it in the next bit, or we can use it for the actual decryption. I think we'll use it for the decryption. Now the question now I'm going to ask the Oracle is this a risky job? So if it's risky, if the data decryption is hard and it's risky, it means we need to get a 20 or above or we fail. If it's just normal, then it's a 10 or above. So risky is a 20 or above. So we'll just do a 50-50. Is it risky? So 10 or above, it's a yes. Very much so. Very, very, very much so, with no complications. So we need a 20 plus to succeed on the data decryption test. So first off, Marquis, so Viking, or just Viking. So Marquis is going to be a bit busy. Viking is going to ask around. So what can Marquis do? Marquis has got read situation, survive, pull rank, assault. Marquis can't really help with this very much. Marquis might not be able to help unless Viking is doing quite badly. So Viking is going to start asking around. He's got word on the street. He's going to ask around and see if Viking can get any information about the signal or hardware on waypoint theta to help this. So Viking has a +4 for word on the street, and Viking needs to roll a 10 or above on this. 19, which gives us that's a critical because it's 23. So Viking is asking around and gets information on the signals that are often picked up by waypoint theta, on who runs the station. So we know who runs the station. Oh yeah, we know who runs the station, and so that person's name is, I haven't got a name table in this book. I don't know if we need a name table. Do you think a table for names is useful? I didn't put one in the GME, but I can put one in the GME and then push that back out. And so if you've already bought it, you would, let's go, the core book is edited by Melody Watson. Melody, you run the radio station on Waypoint Theta. Melody Watson runs the radio station on Waypoint Theta. But yeah, if a name table would be useful, then I can make a name table and stick it somewhere in the tables part of the GME. I mean relaying it out, but it's all right. And then anyone who's already bought it will get that edition for free. So if you think that would be helpful, stick it down and I might do that because they are helpful. So we have found out, word on the street, that Melody Watson runs the radio station, and we're going to go and speak to Melody Watson, and we're going to see if we can pull ranks. Not word on the street, might not. This is just a simple sort of. We don't really have anything. So Marquis has assault, which is just a full-on attack, pull rank, which is basically putting rank, read a situation, which is more sort of interrogating someone, and survival. Whereas Viking has hack or fix, invent or create, take control, word on the street. Take control sounds too forcible to go and speak to Melody and say, can we use your hardware, please? So we need to try and get some hardware. So we can have invent create. So if we use invent create instead, maybe we can use the story that Viking is going to go and talk to Melody and offer services to do any repairs or fixes in exchange for using the hardware to try and grab this signal that's coming to the station. That seems to work. So Viking is going to go to the station. So this is over a period of time. Go to the station, because we rolled a 3, we're not short on time. So this is maybe over a day or a couple of days. But in our TV series, our 1919 TV series, we've had a scene of Viking talking to people, and someone on in one of the bazaars who sells Viking a pot of noodles points to the radio station, tells about Melody, and maybe says what Melody likes to eat. So Viking will grab some noodles and some coffee and go and chat to Melody. And then we have a scene at the radio station, you know, headphones around neck, stuff, very 1990s. Viking is talking to Melody and offering services to fix something that's broken. Maybe Melody's trying to fix something, and Viking's going to step in and say, oh, let me give you a hand, gets these tools out, and Viking will attempt to fix it to earn, what's it, curry favour? I think the actual saying isn't curry favour, but curry flavour. Is that right? With Melody. So again, we need to roll over 10. Viking has +2. 15, so that's a 17. So Viking gets another success and gets +1 accuracy die for the actual final thing. As Melody says, yeah, that's cool, thank you so much. So Viking fixed the thing. The signal starts coming. We see loads of lights go on, and Melody's happy and say, "You're right. You can use our stuff. Just make sure it's not during the peak time of broadcast." And then we will have Viking is going to now get out a small laptop. He's going to start trying to work out some software so we'll call this hack or fix. Oh no, that could have been hack or fix previously, and this is invent or create. Let's have that because they're both +2. That was hack or fix. This is invent or create, as Viking is going to try and knock up some software to be able to do some data analysis and do some signal analysis to be able to interpret or another word, interpolate something, the different peaks of data to try and work out what this signal is to then be able to give us the message. Again, 10 or more. 6 + 2 is an 8. It isn't, so that one fails. So we don't manage to get enough information from this to then do that. All right, so finally, we now have hardware. We don't have software, so we have hardware, we don't have software, and we have Melody's help. We get to do a roll. So Viking will use hack or fix again. We can't use word on the street, it doesn't fit. So hack or fix again, which means our next license level, I'm going to put 2 points on hack or fix. We use hack or fix, which gives us a +2, and then we get this, and we get this. We get the highest of one of these two. So we need to get 20 for a success. No, we don't get a success. So we get 9 points, 9 +2, 10, 11. So it's a success, but we said it was risky, so we needed 20+ to not get the negative. So we now know what it is. We get the signal, but it takes hours to try and pick up the signal, which means that the enemy will start with so normally you don't start with enemy on the table. We will start with enemy on the table for the extraction mission. Let me just read that again. It's a massive book. It's really good. Extraction mission. Enemy forces, the GM should prepare. No enemy forces begin on the field. They are all held as reinforcements. At the start of any round, the GM may deploy 2 NPCs or grants in 2 of the IZs. They cannot deploy. At the start of any round, you can deploy them. So I will say there will already be 2 enemies So we will have 2 enemies, not just in these points, we'll have 2 enemies somewhere in here. So there'll be two grunts somewhere on the table. So we will start with 2 grunts on table. Although we do still have both of them starting invisible. Okay, so what is going on? We need some verbs to find out what is going on, and then we can end this session and go off next session to do the extraction mission. We probably, based on how long the missions run, we will get the extraction mission done next session, and that which would be session 4, and then session 5 we will do the escort, meaning session 6 we get to license level 2. So what is going on? We've got a 61 ambush. All right, someone has been ambushed, but a really slow ambush that means that we get to go there. 43 forge. All right, okay. Now we do know that Horus is moving into this sector because that is part of our setting. So part of our solo setting. No, it's Harrison Armory. Within the vast space lies the Free Forge, a loose collection of independent colonies, mining stations, and ex-Union warlords who refuse to bow to corporate rule or Union oversight. The Harrison Armory Expansion Corporation and various megacorporations moved to. So Harrison Armory. So we're going to say that Harrison Armory enjoys a galaxy-wide reputation for the quality of its weapons and defensive systems. The Corpo state previously specialised in ordnance and other armaments, making it reliant on competitors' frames as mounts for its deluxe equipment. However, since the overthrow of the Union's Second Committee, Harrison Armory has broadened its product line to include an extensive range of peerless frontier frames on a... Right, so because of Forge and Ambush, there is a bit like Rogue, the beginning of Rogue One. So what's his name? I can't remember. Played by the I think he's Dutch, isn't he? Actor. He, the designer of the Death Star, who I can't remember his name. I do apologise. I should know his name. So an equivalent. So hold on. Let me write it down and then I'll say it. Right. So we've got a high-skilled mech frame designer has left the world of war and wants peace. HA wants him and his designs. So next, so we know what's going on. So the next part is we need to choose our environment, which we'll randomly roll. Hopefully it's something which could be a farming type world, that we could interpret as some sort of farming type world, because that then works with this person wanting to have peace. So roll D20 for the environment. This is from the core book. My is 278279. 15, low gravity. Mechs count as flying when they boost, but they must land after they move. Characters never take damage from falling. A low gravity world. Okay, so it's a low gravity world. What else have I got? So once we've rolled the environment, I think that works. So some form of low gravity farming. So this person is doing low gravity farming. So all we need to do next is we then would build our forces the same as last time. We will randomly roll to pick whatever our teams are. I need to build a list which is twice the size that we normally would bring, so in activations, although we wouldn't want more than a certain number of activations on the table at the same time. And that is it. We are now ready to go into our next operation, where we will have 2 missions going back to back, and we'll have a gap in between so as we can do an hour's worth of repairs in between, which we haven't done yet at the table. And that's it. So that is Lancer when playing solo, basically. That's it, using using this GME. That's how it works. Thank you so much for watching. I will say again, if you are a subscriber, thank you so much for being a subscriber. If you're not a subscriber, please consider subscribing for more of these shenanigans. Thank you so much to the Adventurers Guild. There are so many names that are going across there, it's getting quite difficult to do that. I'm going to have to try and think of another way. It might need to be like the Wire Files. I'll have to have a load of names and I'll do a little dance whilst the names go. I don't know if I'd be able to look at myself doing that though. When I'm doing the editing, I'd have to edit blind. Thank you so much for being here. Next session, we will do the extraction of whomever this designer is, and if we had a names table, I could give them a name of this designer. In fact, we'll call the designer the same name. Stick it down to the thing below. Although, because this is 3 weeks in the future, I probably won't read it before I film the next one. Have a good time. See ya.